Mandla. Viva EFF, viva. Tata, EFF, Tata. Siyabonga, thank you very much. The program directors, members of the bereaved families, fighters, comrades, and fellow South Africans. I also want to send my sincere greetings to the leadership of the IFP and the ANC. The IFP president communicated with us last night that he will send a delegation, only to realize that he left a very important word before delegation, which was supposed to be a powerful delegation, because present here with us is the top leadership of the IFP and the ANC in the province. We gather here today in collective grief. We are here to rest the young lives of our beloved children, brothers, sisters, and comrades. When a roll call was called on the 17th of June, some of our comrades did not respond on that day. When Subonga Konke Mate's name was called, there was no response. When Ntombi Ndlovu's name was called, there was no response. Lungani Sande Mbata did not respond. Pumlani Zulu did not respond. Thokozani Mushazi did not respond. Ayanda Kumalo did not respond. Mkenge Siboniso did not respond. Tutukani Dube did not respond. Siyanda Twala did not respond. We were not just calling names of individuals. We're checking each and every soldier, whether they've returned to the base. And we were told that was not the case. These are just not names in headlines or numbers in a report. These were young people who had dreams. They were full of life, full of promise, and full of the courage that defines the children of working class and oppressed families. Those who know struggle not from history books, but from daily survival. They died while in pursuit of life. They were traveling with hope in their hearts, but the journey that should have taken them towards opportunity ended in tragedy. We must stop normalizing premature death in black communities. We must stop mourning without changing the conditions that produce these moments of sorrow. Because these young people were not born to die in road accidents. They were born to build, to create, and to lead. If these young people had lived during 1976, they would have stood in the front lines with Tsietsi Mashinini, Khozo Seatlulo, Mbuyisa Makubo, and the many children who faced the bullets of apartheid, armed only with their youth and righteous cause. They would have said no to the imposition of Africans. They would have organized in their classrooms. They would have led marches, and they would have refused to be silenced. Because what runs through their veins is the same thing that ran through the youth of 1976. Defiance, vision, and a commitment to dignity. Today, they become part of that eternal youth. Those children who did not die because they were weak, but because this world has yet to become the safe place they deserve. And so, as the EFF we say, that death must not be in vain. Their passing must become a turning point. We must honor them, not only with flowers and words, but with action. We must fix our roads, regulate the transport industry, and demand accountability. We must build a country where the children of domestic workers, mine workers, and the unemployed can travel safely, learn freely, and live fully. As the EFF, our work in Parliament is grounded in this very mission, to give dignity to the lives of the poor. We have declared that data must fall because a country that prizes connectivity as a luxury is a country that shuts the door on the future. Our children cannot learn if they are excluded from the digital world. We are fighting to ensure that data, electricity, and education are not commodities for the elite, but basic rights for all. We have taken the fight to the doorsteps of National Lottery Commission, because what was meant to uplift the poor has been hijacked by the corrupt criminals. Millions meant for community development are at risk, while young people die without jobs, without sports facilities, and without hope. We have called for justice for the crimes of apartheid because we cannot continue to pretend that the blood of our martyrs has dried. It has not. The murderers of the past live with impunity. They write books, they receive Nobel Prizes, they appear on television, they are celebrated as statesmen, while the families of the murdered know no justice. We want the TRC recommendation implemented. We want those who committed crimes against humanity to face the full might of the law, and we will not rest until there is justice for our people. Fighters, we say today at the funeral of our young people that our struggle is global. The pain of our children is connected to the pain of children in Palestine, where bombs are dropped on homes, hospitals, and schools. The screams of mothers in Gaza echo the cries we hear here. We say to the Israeli apartheid regime, the world is watching and history will judge you harshly. The EFF stands firmly with the people of Palestine and will never be neutral in the face of genocide. We stand in full solidarity with Iran, a country under siege from Western imperialism for choosing independence. We reject the bullying of this nation by the United States, Israel, and its allies. And we stand by their right to defend themselves by any means necessary. Let Israel finally have a taste of the devastation and violence it has perpetrated in Gaza. We are anti-imperialist because we understand that our struggle for freedom is bound to the struggle of all oppressed people across the world. As we reflect on the lives of the young people we are laying to rest today, young people whose lives were full of potential and courage, we must also lift our eyes beyond our borders and draw strength from examples of youth who are living proof that another future is possible. One such example is the fearless and principled revolutionary, Captain Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, who took power not out of greed, but out of an urgent need to liberate his people from the clutches of neocolonialism and foreign military domination. Traore is a living symbol of the return of revolutionary leadership in Africa. He is a young man who, like Thomas Sankara before him, has rejected Western puppet regime, expelled French troops from Burkina Faso soil, and reclaimed the dignity of his people. At only 36 years old, Traore has shown more courage and conviction than many leaders twice his age. He has put his life on the line to defend his nation's sovereignty and natural resources. He has stood firm in the face of threats from imperialist forces, and he has remained the world that Africa is not for sale. We invoke his name here today because he represents the future our young people could have. Because when we speak of the youth who died in this tragedy, we must also speak of the youth who are still standing, still fighting, and still changing the world. Captain Traore is one of them. we say to our young people, do not be discouraged by this dark moment. Be inspired by it. Take the spirit of those we bury today and let it fuel your fire. Let it remind you that leadership does not come with age. It comes with clarity of purpose, with love for the people, and with a willingness to confront injustice wherever it shows itself. The EFF calls on the youth of South Africa and the continent to follow in the footsteps of young revolutionaries like Traore by rising, organizing, and building a future where Africa is free from exploitation, free from foreign control, and free from leaders who serve only themselves. As we mourn the lives of these young people, we are reminded of a painful truth in this country: to be young and black is to suffer. Our young people die not only on buses, in car crashes, but they die in silence every day. They die from hunger, from depression, from hopelessness, and from a system that has abandoned them. Today, 45.1% of South Africa's youth are unemployed. Almost 1 in every 2 young people is without work. They wake up every morning with no salary, no opportunity, and no dignity. They stand on the street corners with degrees and diplomas, while others are denied even the chance to study because this government has still failed to deliver free, quality, decolonized education, and a promise made on stages and forgotten in boardrooms. Meanwhile, we live in a country where prisoners receive 3 meals a day, have access to free uniform, and are offered education and rehabilitation programs, while young people go to bed on empty stomachs, wear torn clothes, and are forced to drop out of school because they cannot afford registration fees. We do not say this to dehumanize prisoners, many of whom are victims of the very same system. But we must ask, how can a government feed and clothe those it has arrested, but refuse to feed and educate those it claims to represent? It is a contradiction that speaks to the core of this regime's failure. It invests more in prison maintenance than it does in human development. It builds more jails than schools. It responds to poverty not with opportunity, but with punishment. That is why the EFF calls for the introduction of a permanent unemployment grant in South Africa, a basic income that restores some measures of dignity to the millions who are trapped outside of the economy through no fault of their own. This country can afford it. There is no shortage of money, only shortage of political will. We have 700 million for useless national dialogue, but when it comes to feeding the children of the poor, suddenly the budget is under pressure. 700 million of ukukhuluma, asikhulume, vulamulom, 700 million is available for such nonsensical programs, yet our people are unemployed. We say to this government, the youth are watching. They will not forget your indifference. The EFF will continue to fight inside Parliament and in streets until every young person has access to free education, decent work, and a basic income that affirms their humanity. Let us not forget why these young people we are burying today were traveling. They were not on a holiday. They were not returning from a party or a weekend away. They were returning from the EFF Youth Day rally. They were returning from a space that does not just speak about the youth, but is built by the youth. A space where they were affirmed, where they were reminded of their power, and where they declared with one voice that they are the generation that will bring economic freedom in our lifetime. This is what makes their death even more devastating. They died in the middle of political commitment. They died as participants in the revolutionary project of our time. I want all of us to understand what that means. It means they were already leaders. They had already made the decision to be part of the generation that refuses to accept crumbs. the generation that demands land, the generation that confronts corruption, that loves continent, that embraces decolonization. The EFF is the only political home in this country that has refused to treat young people as ornaments. We do not just call the youth the future, we also say they are the present. We do not make them sing songs in corners while elders speak. No, we elect them. We send them to parliament. We put them in front of microphones, in front of enemies, and in front of history. Today, in the Parliament of South Africa, young leaders from the EFF benches stand boldly and speak truth to power. They interrogate ministers, they expose looters, they write legislation, and they make sure that the voice of the youth is not just heard, but is impossible to ignore. These are young people who came through the EFF Student Command, who organized campuses when the media called them reckless, who let FISMAs fall and faced arrest, exclusion, and brutality, and still stood up. Now they sit in legislatures as fighters for change. Let this be a message to the youth gathered here and to those listening across the country. The time to doubt yourself is over. You are the ones you have been waiting for. You are the torchbearers of Onkgopotse Tiro, of Winnie Mandela, of Peter Mokaba. You are children of Frantz Fanon and Steve Biko. You are a generation that will return Africa to ourselves. We know that many of you are tired for looking for jobs that do not exist, tired of begging for NSFAS that never comes, tired of voting and seeing nothing changes, tired of funerals and never seeing justice. We know that. But I say to you today, do not let your pain turn into silence. Let your pain turn into purpose. Let it push you. Let it drive you. Let it radicalize you. Let it draw you closer to the movement that has never betrayed you, the EFF. Let this funeral not be the end. Let it be the beginning of our refusal to accept a country where the youth are treated as waste. Let us organize. Let us recruit. Let us study. Let us fight. Let us build South Africa where every child, no matter how poor, can live, dream, and become. To the families of the deceased, we say this: you are not alone. Your loss is our loss. Your tears are our tears. Your children are not forgotten. The EFF will walk with you, will support you, and will continue to fight in their name. I want to say to you, be proud parents that your children did not die from Nyaope. Your children did not die drowning in drugs and alcohol. Your children died in the battlefield. Your children are soldiers. Your children are martyrs. And the names of your children will always be called when the names of martyrs are called. Be proud that your children have inspired many generations to come. To all ground forces of the EFF, this is an opportunity to pick up the spear and continue the fight to return the land to the rightful owners. We must never be scared. This land belongs to us. This land belongs to our grandmothers. This land belongs to our grandfathers. No one came through a ship carrying a land. They found it here. They will leave it here. We have no any other home except South Africa. This is our home. Comrades, we must continue to be disciplined and die in the revolution. Because to die in a revolution must be an honor. And as a result, we are going to honor all of these 10 fallen heroes, each one of them with a house, a proper house that has got all the facilities. And if there is no water in those yards, we'll make sure we put boreholes so that we restore the dignity of those families. We build those houses, we put those boreholes because we want to build a permanent relationship with these families. We don't want to forget you. Do not forget us. Thank you very much. Amandla! Amandla!